Good evening, everyone. It's just after 6 o'clock, so I'll go ahead and get us started for our presentation this evening. I'm Emily Chancellor. I handle community outreach for Austin Water's construction projects. Really thank you for spending your time to attend our meeting tonight. We'll be talking about the East Allendale Water and Wastewater Renewal Project, and we're so glad that you're here. So our agenda tonight, we'll start with some welcome and logistics. We'll give you instructions on how to engage with the meeting here on Zoom. Our project team will introduce themselves, and then our project manager will give an overview of the project. That's usually about a 10 to 15 minute presentation, and then we'll get into questions and answers. And you'll be able to send us questions through the Q&A feature. And at the end, we'll be glad to, if you want to raise your hand, use the raise your hand feature. We'd be glad to hear any questions or feedback directly from you. And then we'll conclude the meeting. So as I said, I'm Emily. I work with Austin Water. I just want to give a couple of welcoming comments. Much of our team are working from home during the pandemic. And so you'll see that we're all coming from different locations. We are coordinating online to bring this project to your neighborhood. Part of our team is working in the field, and you'll meet them and understand what their role in the project is. And we've spent the last year kind of shifting our community meetings from being in person to being online. And so we are using Zoom tonight. And I want to welcome Mary Zambrano, who's helping to produce this meeting. Mary, would you like to cover the logistics and how folks can engage with us on Zoom?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. As Emily said, we appreciate that y'all are here and you're invested, and definitely want to provide all the information and get all your questions answered. That being said, if you look at the drop down, or if you look down at your screen, if you scroll down, if you're on a mouse or laptop, you'll see that a bar pops up and it has several options for you. One would be the chat. That's where you can go ahead and ask. Well, I'll be on the other line. If you have any technical questions, can't hear us or see something, please let us know. There's also a button for Q&A. If you have questions or comments during the presentation, they will be answered, I believe, as time allots, but I believe after every slide we can probably get those in. If not, then we'll definitely have them towards the end of the presentation. And of course, you'll be provided with emails in the event that we don't get to everything. Have any questions?
Thank you, Mary, and thanks so much for your help with the meeting. We had a comment that your audio is cutting out a little bit, so I'll just repeat a little bit. There's the chat feature, and you can send questions to the panelists. Use that more for technical assistance if you need help using the tool. And then you can drop questions into the Q&A, and we will answer those at the end of the presentation. And yeah, thank you so much, Mary, for your help. All right, so we're going to get started now with introductions and start with our project manager, David.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is David Hernandez, and I am a capital delivery project manager with the project management division at Public Works. As a project manager, I'm responsible for making sure that the project is completed on time and on budget. I'm also responsible for monitoring any construction-related issues that may impact the timely completion of the project. Thank you.
Hey everybody, my name is Josh Effinger. I am the engineering construction coordinator for this project, acting also as the construction inspector. You'll be seeing me out there more or less every day, and I'll be coordinating various different aspects of the projects, from installation to testing, acceptance, and all that stuff. I'll be serving as, I guess, the frontline person for the city, on behalf of the city during construction.
Hi everyone, my name is Homeowner. I am the project sponsor, and I'm with Austin Water.
I'm not sure if we were able to have Martin online, but is there another representative from our contractor who'd like to introduce themselves?
Yes, I'm here. I don't have my camera on because I'm not in work attire anymore. So sorry about that. My name is Gabriela Vaca. I work with Vaca Underground, and I will be the project coordinator for the East Allendale project. My superintendent, Martin, is having some technical issues. He'll try to join us, hopefully when we're, not almost done with the meeting, but he will be on site once we get started with construction.
Thanks, Gabby. Thanks for being here.
It's not a problem.
I'm Daniel Stoutenberg, design engineer with Friesen Nichols. We were hired by the city to design the project, and we'll be helping with if there's any issues during construction with the design.
Hi everyone, I'm Rachel Coker. I am under Daniel at Friesen Nichols and help design this project, and we'd be happy to help in any way we can with technical questions and whatnot.
Thanks, everyone. And I introduced myself earlier. I'm Emily Chancellor, and I will be supporting this project through construction. So I'll be helping the team to get out communications, to get information out to our residents during the construction. So you'll be hearing from me throughout the project, as well as the other project team members. All right, so now I'm going to hand it over to our project manager, and we'll go over the project.
All right, thank you, Emily. Well, the East Allendale Water and Wastewater Renewal Project is a part of the Austin Water program that replaces and upgrades aging infrastructure. Now, this project will replace about 8,484 linear feet of water lines and about 4,280 linear feet of wastewater lines. In addition, about 15 fire hydrants will be replaced, and some of them will be relocated to new locations in order to meet the current code requirements for the Austin Fire Department. Now, the project is expected to take about 14 months to complete. So with us starting construction in April, weather permitting, we anticipate completion to occur by June of next year. Next slide. Here is a project map of the East Allendale project. You can see a legend located at the lower left-hand corner of the map, which displays the location of the proposed water improvements with blue lines, as well as the location of the sanitary sewer improvements, which can be seen with green lines. Now, you can find this map currently available on the project website. Next slide. As you can see from the zoomed-in version of the map, most of the work is located on the lower half between Bullard Drive and Shoalwood Avenue, from east to west, and between White Horse Trail and Northland Drive from north to south. Now, there are 3 outliers located at the northern half of the map. The first area is on Twin Oaks Drive near Burnett, and the second area is located along Burnett Road near Pengram Avenue. And finally, the last area is located near the intersection of Shoal Creek Boulevard and Cavalier Avenue. Next slide. Now, I'm not going to ignore the obvious. Construction is inconvenient, and there's no way around it. But what we can do is manage how much of an inconvenience it can be by providing notice in advance so you can plan around it. So we also plan to provide information on what you can expect during construction. And as seen in the overview, you can plan to expect to hear the use of heavy equipment, digging trenches for the installation of the new water and wastewater lines. You will find that the roads will be patched after each line is installed. And at the end of the project, all the roads will eventually be repaved that were impacted by construction. Now, keep in mind that the construction will occur in phases, which is why you may find crews working in front of your property several times to complete each phase of the project. And that may include excavation, pipe installation, temporary paving, testing, final paving, and in some instances, repairs if necessary. Next slide. Now, most of the work is in the right-of-way, and in many cases, the right-of-way includes not only the street, but the area between the street and the sidewalk, an area that you may consider to be a part of your property because, well, it lies within your lawn. Now, if landscaping is located within this area, it may be necessary to remove it before the new water service can be connected to the water meter. Now, we can work with you by notifying you when we plan to be in the area if you wish to relocate your landscaping before we get in there. Next slide. Traffic control during construction is an important item of discussion. There will be instances when streets are closed to accommodate construction, and detours will be provided to direct traffic around those areas. Most of these closures will be daily. Please keep in mind that you will always have access to your home. Now, there may be times when your driveway access may be limited for brief periods, but we will be providing advance notice when that occurs. Another item is water service during construction. There will be instances when your water will be turned off in order to connect your service to the new water line. When this occurs, it will most likely be just for a few hours on a single day, but we will notify you with flyers posted on your door prior to turning the water off. And of course, if emergency outages are possible if there are water line breaks during construction, that should be noted. Our work hours will be from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. during the week and from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on weekends. Next slide. And finally, all Austin Water construction projects support critical infrastructure for the health and safety of our community, and therefore, construction activities are allowed to proceed under current City of Austin restrictions. Some of the safety requirements in place include the following. Workers must wear face coverings and maintain a 6-foot physical distance. Sites with more than 10 active workers must stagger shifts. All sites must begin each workday with safety briefings that include reminders of all COVID-19 safety requirements and a check of personal protective equipment. Hand washing is required, and hand washing stations and restroom facilities must be at least 6 feet apart. Work sites must provide single-use disposable paper towels and no-touch trash receptacles. Next slide. And of course, this concludes my portion of the presentation. I'd like to thank you for your time. I'll be handing over the rest of the presentation to Emily to complete. Thank you again.
Thank you, David. Thanks so much. That was very helpful. I'll just cover a couple of communications items, and then we'll be getting into our Q&A session. Mary dropped into the chat earlier a link to our project website. So it's austintexas.gov/eastallandale. That's where information and the maps are. There's also on that page a link where you can sign up to get email updates about the project. So that's where we'll send out updates when we're going to be moving to a new section, when there's planned water service outages, or just other news about the project. So I encourage you to sign up to get those updates directly. And then just a note, another thing that will be done is 48 hours in advance, Josh or one of his colleagues, if necessary, will help hand out those notices when there's a planned water shutoff for them to make that service connection. So those are the primary ways that we'll communicate. I also, when we have an update about the project, I post it on Nextdoor also, and we'll share it with the neighborhood organizations so they can, if you have a listserv or an email group, they can share that update with that way also. So now we're to our question and answer part. So if anyone has joined us by phone, I'm not sure if anyone has, but if you are on the phone, you can still participate. You can press *9, and that's like to raise your hand and let us know that you want to speak. And then Mary will unmute your line, and then you'll get a prompt, an audio prompt to press *6, and then you'll be able to speak. And for those folks who have joined from your computer or your phone, you can click on this Q&A button and start submitting your questions. And I see we have one question that's come in. So let's see, I'm going to get us, go back here. So I'll start reading out the questions and the project team will help answer them. Our first question is, will the construction affect the bike lanes on Shoal Creek Boulevard? So David, do you want to start with that, or do you want someone else on the team to talk about our traffic control for that?
I think I'm okay. Yeah, during construction, the bike lanes will be detoured from 9 to 4 while construction is in place. It is open to through traffic, but we would like to know how much space is going to be when we're in construction. But after the construction times have been eclipsed, we're going to be opening it back up for the bike lanes. So at the time when construction is happening, so during the week from 4 to 9, we would be having the closures of while work's going on. If we can provide adequate space to have the bikes going through while we're working, they'll be open. But at this time, we plan to have them closed and then opened up once work is done. They won't remain closed. They'll just be daily closures at that time.
And David, would it be important to point out that that'll be in sections? So it'll be in the section where the construction is occurring. So it won't be like the whole length in that part of the neighborhood, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for pointing that out.
Sure. So I don't have any other questions right this minute. Let's see. All right. So we'll wait for more questions to come in. Josh mentioned earlier in his introduction that he'll be on site, and I think it's important for you all to note on this next slide, actually, we have our project contact information, and Josh's cell phone number is available, and he is a really key part of not making sure that the project is being constructed according to specifications, and he also will be a liaison to the neighbors. So he'll be working with the contractor to make sure you're given notice if work is going to be happening in front of your home. If they're digging the trench in front of your driveway, he or the superintendent from the contractor will come and talk to you. They'll make sure that if you need to have access to your car, that you have a chance to move it out of your driveway before they start working in that area. So Josh will really be on top of things, and he'll be your primary contact, and David and I are available also throughout the project. So I'm just gonna wait for more questions to come in.
Emily, I'd like to introduce myself as well.
Yes, please do.
Yes, I'm Rick Glosson. I'm the Engineering Construction Coordinator Supervisor, and Josh is my inspector. And when he's got some projects going on, but you might see me in the area, and I am also assisting the project team on this project. But if you need anything, I'll give my contact info later on. Okay?
Thank you, Rick. Thank you. Appreciate that. I see we have questions coming in on the chat side too, so I'll read those. Thank you for your patience, you all. Sometimes technology doesn't work like we're expecting it to, so some of y'all have ended up on the panelist side, but it's fine. We'll get through this together. So Hans is asking, will the meters be replaced? So David, can you confirm if meter replacement is included in this scope?
I believe it is, yes.
Okay. And is Daniel shaking his head on that too? Do y'all have more to add?
Yes, the meters where that map showed the water lines to be replaced, all the houses that are tied to those water lines being replaced the meters will be replaced as well. And the same with the wastewater, the cleanups at the street or at the property line will be replaced on all the wastewater lines.
Thank you. That's good information to have. And I guess I might point out that is separate from Austin Water's My ATX Water meter project. And that project is in the pilot phase right now, and that is where meters are being installed that will connect to a wireless network. So it sounds like in the East Allendale project, your meter will be replaced, but for it to become part of the bigger meter project, that will be work that's done later to connect it to the network and connect to the customer portal that we're building. Okay, let me see. We've got some questions coming in here. Okay, we answered the meter question. Will water or wastewater be rerouted during the project? This happened before, and wastewater was rerouted down Shoal Creek for a period of time about 4 years ago. Who's best to answer this one? Daniel, I see you're unmuted. Do you have some information on this?
There's only one area where it's being relocated. The rest of it, the water and wastewater lines will be roughly in the same spot. I know some of the water lines will be running parallel to the existing one, so for the water lines to remain in service during construction. But the one that's going to be is over there in Shoal Creek Boulevard near Cavalier. There's a wastewater line that goes between, I believe it's a small city park and a house. And now instead of draining back towards that drainage ditch to the back, it will drain towards the street. So I think that's the only one that's being rerouted.
And I wonder if this question might be referring to like bypass operations that they've seen in the neighborhood previously. So I wonder if you might elaborate on that for this project.
Yes, there'll be some bypass pumping during construction as they replace some of the lines, some of the wastewater lines. So yes, that will occur.
And that's for wastewater service. So that's so that your service can continue while the construction is going on, right?
Yes, and there'll be some with the water line service as well to minimize service outages.
Okay. So we have a follow-up question on that. Can we get detail on the bypassing? So if we don't have that information available right at the moment, that's something we could commit to adding to the website. Whoever submitted that question, are you wanting to know the location of where the bypassing will happen, or what kind of details would be useful to you? If you don't mind providing that, that'll help the team to develop some information that we can add to the website.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Hi, this is the contractor with Bark Underground. I have a comment regarding the bypass.
Yes.
Usually if bypass is required, it means that we're gonna leave the line in place, while we replace the existing sanitary line. It's, in this case, I don't know if that would fall into that category, because that would be like a separate line item. So that's why I was asking about that. If it's going to be is it a new wastewater line, or are we replacing it?
Yeah, in all of the wastewater lines, you're placing new pipe in there, but you're going to need bypass pumping in order to keep the services in place while you're installing the new wastewater line. And
yeah, we can usually bypass into the nearest manhole.
that's correct.
Okay. Okay, that's all that I have.
Thank you. Thanks. And it sounds like we probably need to take a little time and provide some more details. So thank you to our attendee who provided more detail. They said, well, previously a large flexible pipe ran between our house and our neighbors and ran down Shoal Creek. It pumped waste. Is that what is happening? So
If I'm not mistaken, I believe that most of these wastewater lines, they're small sections. They're not full runs. So I don't anticipate having to do that again this time around. I think since the runs are so small that it'll probably just be from one manhole to the next, which will probably be in the street in the same area, not far from where we're working.
Yeah, Daniel, correct me if I'm wrong, but I was under the assumption that many of the wastewater rehabilitation portions were, I know one in particular was not rerouted, but adjusted in order to accommodate some of the new water line rehabilitation portions.
Yeah, some of them are, and then some of them are they're going to be done by a cured in place pipe where there's and those will just have like a day bypass pumping because they should be able to replace the wastewater line within a day with that method, but then they'll be going in and replacing all the service line. So there's kind of a mixture of areas where bypass will happen.
thank you all for providing that information. And if you want us to provide a response specific to your address to give you a little more detail about what's planned around your home, you can use the chat and send a chat just to the panelists and give us your address and a way to contact you, a phone number or an email address. And I'll be glad to work with the team. They can look at the plans and we can just provide a little more detail that's more specific to your property. All right, so we have a question here also about, can the homeowner still read the new meter? So the new meters that will be installed with this project, I believe that will be the case. The meters that are going in with the MyATX water project, they will be locked. They have an antenna and other devices in them that can be damaged if the meter is open. We don't have all the information about that project tonight since that's not our topic, but I can refer you to myatxwater.org for more details on that project. And that will be coming in the future. It's not planned in this neighborhood at this time. All right. Help me out here, Mary. Do I have questions in the chat that I'm missing?
No, it's like you got them all.
Okay. Thank you for providing your address, and we'll look into that and provide a specific response to you. We appreciate that. Okay, another question. After the big snowmageddon, it was very helpful to determine if there were any leaks. Will the new locked meters have no option to find out if water is flowing? So with the new MyATX water project, you actually will get a leak alert from the system, and you'll be able to set your preferences how you want to get that. And our customers who are in the pilot, many of them have discovered leaks in their property that they would not have known about before. And so the system will automatically notify you if water is continuously flowing on your meter. So you'll be notified by that through the portal.
Just to piggyback on that, I did go ahead and put in the chat the Austin Smart Water Meter Project URL in case you have questions specific to that. Again, they're not specific to this project, but since those are questions coming up, I just went ahead and put that in there.
Thanks, Mary. Appreciate that. Yeah, and there's a lot of great resources there, a lot of frequently asked questions and information available there. All right, so our next question is about the East Allendale project, and it's asking, are dates for the rollout known at this time? In other words, will neighbors have a sense of when their particular street will be affected? David, if it's helpful for me to go back to the project map for this, I can do that.
That'd be great.
All right.
Yeah, just there you go. I guess that'll work. Just to let you know that I imagine that we're going to be having project updates on the website as we move through the project. But just to get a general idea, of the phasing, we would be starting right around Bullard and Shoal Creek, more mainly in the Bullard and White Rock intersection area, in that area there. And we would be working our way east down White Rock and then going down the streets from west to east until we finish that lower portion. That's where we would be starting. Once we're done with that, we would be following up with the sanitary sewer improvements that are off on Twin Oaks, Burnett, and that small little section there on the right there on Cavalier and Shoal Creek Boulevard. But if you sign up on the website, we'd be giving updates of where we're going to be. And that's a good way to kind of gauge how the project's going to be moving along. And you can kind of see, if you live on the lower half of the map and you start kind of seeing the project working its way to you, you know it's coming. But that's a good way to gauge how the project's going to be progressing as it moves along.
Thanks, David. And I really appreciate you plugging the website and signing up to get those email updates. Yeah. That'll be how we'll let you know when we're moving to a new section, to a new street. All right. I'm going to just wait for a few minutes and see if more questions come in. And also just want to make sure that you know that this is not your last chance to ask questions. We don't have any additional public meetings planned, but we are always available. You can email any of us, call us. We'll be very responsive to questions you have, and we'll be in communication with the neighbors all through the construction. We have one more question on the meters. So will the homeowner have access to the shutoff valve? So my understanding is that in the typical setup for water meters, there is a shutoff valve on the homeowner's side, and then there's a city shutoff valve. So the homeowners should be able to have access and to use their shutoff valve that's on their side of the meter, even after the new MyATX water meters are installed. David, do you want to make any sort of wrap-up comments while we're just waiting to see if any final questions come in?
Well, I'd just like to thank everybody for coming out here and giving us the opportunity to present the project and have a chance to reach out and let us know that we're coming. Allow the opportunity to let them know that they can contact us. And, really our goal here is to do a good job of, completing the improvements and also being available to answer any questions. We do realize that we are, whenever you're building something, you're going to be inconveniencing people that live around the area. Just with the noise, the dust, all of that, we're all aware that it's going to be an inconvenience, but we do want to, let you know that we do care about trying to make that impact as small as it can be. And, we know that, your everyday lives, it's important to know what's going to happen around your house so you can plan around it. So that way, you're not making it worse than it already is. And what we're trying to do is to finish in the time that we tell you we're going to finish. So that way, when you're finally done, everything that's new, it's going to be in place. It's going to look nice. Because in the end, once it's done, it's going to be better than we left it. And that's our intention, is just to reach out, give you our email address and our number, let you know that we're, if you contact us, we're going to get back to you and try to answer your questions so you can make those plans around the construction that's going to be happening for the next year and a few months after that.
Anyone else from the project team like to make some closing comments?
Yes, I would. Yeah, and feel free. I'm going to leave my contact info in the chat. But my phone's on 7 days a week. So if you have any questions or any concerns, please reach out to us. Myself and Josh and the project team will do their best to answer your question, any questions you might have. So yeah, we want to do a good job out there, and we want to not make it harder than it is. It's going to be loud, noisy, but we will do our best to communicate to y'all when we are expecting to be on your street. But please, like I mentioned, don't hesitate. Give us a call. That's what we're here for. And I hope y'all have a good evening.
Thank you, Rick. I really appreciate that. And I have to say, since I started doing this work for Austin Water about 2.5 years ago, the work that your group does just impresses me. He is not kidding about the 7 days a week. These folks hustle and they are available. And I really appreciate you saying that, Rick, and appreciate all the work you and your team do. Okay, we have a question on describe the benefits of this project. That's a good one. Human or David, do y'all want to talk about why we're doing this?
This is Daniel Stoutenberg. One of the big reasons is a lot of the aging infrastructure you hear about. The existing water and wastewater lines in this area are over 50 years old, and a lot of the infrastructure is designed to last 50 years, so it's at the end of its design life. The city, Austin Water, has made numerous repairs to the water line here. It's old cast iron lines, and we're replacing it with newer lines, so hopefully it'll last another 50 years and just help with the reliability of water and wastewater service to everyone's homes in the area.
Thank you, Daniel. Yeah, and I can add this is part of Austin Water's Renewing Austin program, and it is driven by data where they look at age and performance of our infrastructure and our systemically replacing infrastructure that needs to be updated. So this is part of an effort that's going on around the city, and we have quite a few projects in construction that are aimed at improving reliability and decreasing interruptions to your service due to water line breaks or other issues.
Yes, I want to add that we have several criteria for changing the pipes. One is the age, the other is the number of breaks in that area, and the material of the pipe. And in some area, we upgrade the size of the water line too.
Thank you. All right, so I always try to have some long pauses to make sure that there's not a question like that someone's just about to send and hit send on. So I'm going to just kind of wait a few minutes here for maybe that last question that's going to come in, and then we'll be concluding the meeting here in just a moment. I know that Rick's contact information has been shared through the chat. Thank you, Rick. I didn't know for sure if you'd be able to be at this meeting, but we'll get your contact info on the website too. So we appreciate it. Looks like we've got all the questions finished. Am I missing anything, Mary?
No, it's good.
Okay. So I think we're going to wrap this up. Final thank you for being here. Reach out to us if we can help you, and have a good evening, and everyone stay safe.